Dear colleagues, Mr. the Ambassador, dear colleagues in your qualities, it is an honor that I deliver this in the introductory speech to this event organized by AWEX, the Walloon Export Agency for Wallonie. We will have a demonstration of Belgian know-how in the important field of the circular economy. It is a priority of the government, led by my colleagues, ministers of economy and of environment.
Thank you very much, Fabien. Thank you for the clicker. Good evening, everybody. I'm Frederic, and I'm the last barrier between this session and your evening. So thank you very much for being that many today. So I'm the CEO and the co-founder, and together I'm here with my business partner, Grégoire Talbot, the CEO of the company. And what we do is to develop a software to help our customers to measure and reduce their CO2 emissions. So today, we will be talking about carbon accounting. I know, it raises questions, perhaps a bit of anxiety, right? But I'll try to do my best in the next 10 minutes to explain you why it is important, especially when we are considering circular economy initiatives, and that it's very easy, carbon accounting. It's not that complex, all right? So usually to reduce the anxiety of our customers, what do? We do a lot of awareness. And as part of this awareness, we do a maturity assessment with our customers. So I wanted to do one with you very shortly today. Not with our software, of course, but manually. Literally, manually. I will ask you to raise your hands. All right? You listen to me? You ready? Okay. First question. Which one of these two options would have the lowest carbon footprint? A banana that is produced in Guadeloupe and then shipped overseas in a boat and then distributed in a supermarket? Or would it be a raw meat steak from your local farmer, maybe the farmer you know that lives just next door, right? So please raise your hand if you believe it's the banana that has the lowest carbon footprint. All right, okay. Now, second question. What about a vegetarian steak? Not a meat steak, a veggie steak. Please raise your hands if you believe that it's the veggie steak that has the lowest carbon footprint. All right, okay. Last one, closer to circular economy. We all know this game made of plastic bricks, right? So do you think that it's better to produce them with recycled plastics, rPET, or with brand new plastic made of petrol, ABS? Please raise your hand if you believe that it's with recycled plastics with the lowest carbon footprint. Okay, interesting. You'll get the answer at the end of the presentation so that you stay with me. But I can see some doubts here on your faces. And that's normal, because you raised your hand by making a choice based on perception, right? You didn't have any metrics. And that's exactly why we exist at D-Carbonize, to produce that software, to give our customers the best technology to help them to measure the CO2 emissions so that they can make the best decision to reduce them. And we do that in 12 different countries. So sorry we don't see that very well on the screen, but we are all around the world in 12 different countries serving more than 45 customers, and most of them are industrial firms. And I can tell you that there is a lot of work to do because we are not on the right direction. This slide is very fresh because this is from an article I read this morning, so thank you very much, Fabien, for the flexibility with the slide. A study expects that in 2023 we will increase by 1.1% the greenhouse gas emissions, whereas on average, for the past 10 years, we increased by 0.5%. So we are not on the right direction. Why? Why is that difficult to reduce CO2 emissions? Why is that a challenge for companies? Well, it's certainly not a lack of ambition, motivation, or commitment. 85% and even more companies pledge to reduce their CO2 emissions. But in the reality, 11% of them effectively succeed to reduce their CO2 emissions. What happens? The issue is the failure to measure. That's really the issue. because we cannot reduce what we do not measure. Would you go to a doctor and get a treatment without having a medical analysis, a medical diagnostic? That would not happen. It's exactly the same for carbon accounting. A company should not make decisions without making sure that the project that will be undertaken will effectively reduce CO2 emissions, obviously if the objective is to reduce the environmental impact. All right? This is very true for circular economy. So I wanted to give you a very simple example. This is a representation, a simple one, of a value chain of a product. You've got the raw material extraction, the transformation of these raw materials, series of transportation, the reporting company that will produce the product. This product will be shipped, used by end users, which will require energy, and then there will be the end of life. I personally led over than 100 carbon footprint assessments, and I can tell you that with the data that we have, we start to see a pattern that looks like a heartbeat. It looks like this. Okay, maybe someone that is a bit excited, but still, it looks like a heartbeat. When you produce a new product made of virgin materials, you create emission peaks across the value chain. One, at the production of virgin materials. The second one at logistics flows, usually inbound logistics because you have intercontinental transportation. And also at the energy consumption, the energy that is used to power your product. And when using circular economy initiatives, you will tackle those 4 peaks with 4 different ways. First, if you reuse materials that are already produced, you don't need to extract new materials, right? So you have a benefit there. Second, circular economy initiatives are usually synonym to local economy, relocation. So you shorten these distances. It's better. Third, if you refurbish a product, if you remanufacture a product, what we notice is that you require a bit less of energy. And last, when you get the product, it's the opportunity to upgrade it, to update it. And so we can expect to use a bit less of energy over its usage. So now let's have a look at 2 case studies from experiences with customers. The first one is when, for customers that is manufacturing pieces for train. Train frame, you know, those frame that would support the structure of the train. Thanks to the diagnostic we made, we identified 2 issues related to aluminum, the material, and related to where it is mounted. First issue is with the material, the aluminum. It's brand new aluminum. So obviously, a recommendation would be to try to use recycled materials, recycled aluminum. So of course, the customer does not need us to know that. But did you know that you could save more than 90% of CO2 emissions? That's where a diagnostic is very interesting, where you can come with solid arguments to change your requirements, your specifications, for example, for your product. So here you will tackle the first peak. Second, since the frames are mounted quite far away, you can imagine a frame, it takes a lot of space. So you need a lot of trucks to bring those frames to Belgium. 76 trucks to bring all the frames required for a train, rather than you could transport them with only 2 trucks if they were dismounted and mounted directly in Belgium. 97% of CO2 emissions that you can avoid thanks to that. Here, obviously, you will reduce your logistics and you will use a bit of energy to mount them, but it's very marginal. And still with logistics, another example with a customer that is manufacturing pieces. And these pieces are coming from Asia, certainly Japan. And so here with this customer, what we are doing is trying to use reverse logistics, collecting the elements that are already produced to get them back and remanufacture them, refurbish them, and then ship them away to the customers. And here, there is a lot of potential for saving, and just for the sake of comparison, look at the carbon footprint of a shipment by plane, 1 ton over 100 kilometers versus the rest. The gap is huge. So if you're local, you reduce those CO2 emissions. But circular economy initiatives are not always a good idea. Usually because maybe the reverse logistics will emit more emissions, so you need to be aware of that. Or maybe because the recycling of it will need a lot of energy or a lot of chemicals that will be worse in the end than if you produce fresh materials. All right? So now back to the assessment. Here are the answers. Let's see where you stand. Here, in this case, obviously the stack has the highest carbon footprint. You see the difference, 100 grams for a banana versus 10 kilograms for a stack. And the reason is because here, for the stack, we need a lot of raw material. We need a lot of soil, we need a lot of food to feed the animal, and the processing of meat is very consuming. Here, for the veggie stack, most of you got wrong, sorry about that, 600 grams to produce a veggie stack. And the reason is the same. You need a lot of raw materials, you need a lot of transportation, you need a lot of process to manufacture them. So it's the same issue. And last, and I really like this example because it's a very recent one, quite popular in our industry, with Lego. They have invested billions of euros or dollars over the past few years to get a solution to use recycled materials to produce their toys. And the reality is, it doesn't work. Using recycled plastics require a lot of energy and a lot of chemicals that in the end, it's better from an environmental perspective, from a GHG emission perspective, to use brand new plastic. Here, again, the issues with the end-of-life treatment. So I will conclude by that. GHG emissions assessment is very important where you want to know where you stand, where you want to build a carbon reduction strategy, all right? It will help you as well to define, to monitor your impact so that you can be sure, you can have the assurance that you will meet your objectives. And last, and this is important for us, it will reduce your risk. All the projects that you've seen here at COP28 and presented here by the very good speakers, they involve a lot of money. These are important decisions. So you better want to be sure that it will bring the impact that you are looking for before, and you want to monitor over time that it brings that impact, right? So next time you think about to reduce our CO2 emissions or an initiative, please measure to be sure. Thank you very much.